What is going on, guys? Tommy Wood here. We're back again for another breakdown the lake video. This week we're going to do Lake Awoonga. So we're going to do Lake Awoonga in the summertime. The chart on this is absolutely perfect. It's got relief shading, we've got charts and satellite imagery. So I'm going to show you that all in the Garmin. It looks epic. We're going to break down a few different techniques such as top water during the mornings and fishing at night, like fishing close to the creek channel. And there is a million different techniques that you can do this time of the year. So the fish are super comfortable. A lot of the bait is spread out deep now because they don't need to spawn. They're just swimming around the river channels. And there's also a lot of forage and food up in shallow. So you'll get barra that sort of live in a bay and they'll live up in the weed their whole life, just eating garfish and red claw. So we're gonna go through all that sort of stuff, all the different techniques and different times to do it, and we'll see how we go. All right, so we've got a lucky winner here for the last video at Mondrian. Warren Jones 3516, mate. You've just won a Samaki lure pack. This is her right here. So we're gonna send that your way. Just either give me a message on Facebook or I'll put my email down below. Send me an email with your address and stuff and I'll send it out to you. So if you wanna win the next Samaki lure pack, all you gotta do, subscribe to my channel, follow Samaki on Instagram and comment on this video below of your biggest barra, and we're going to give away another lure pack. So thank you, Samaki, for your support again. Let's get into this video. All right, so here we are. This is Lake Awoonga on the G3 chart. You can see this thing is super detailed. Got the color shading as the same as the last video. I'll just pop her up again for you. So layers, water, depth shading. That's what I'm running for colors. And you can see this river channel, so distinct. We've got these big flats either side. So much to look at here. But once you sort of find the key things where fish are going to be traveling, we can figure out where they're going to be on bite times and where to fish when we're not fishing bite times. So thought I'd give you a quick little look at that. This is just a fishing chart, and if I go into home, relief shading also has a really cool picture of this. So it also shows creek channels, your humps, your risers, all that sort of stuff. It's just another little tool you can use if you wanted to have a look at. It looks pretty cool. You can, sort of shows you all these little channels, gutters. It gives you a real 3D view of what's going on under the water. So it's not just an offshore thing. We also use this a fair bit in the impoundments. But we're going to start off, we're just going to keep using fishing chart, keep it simple. Go from there. So if I was going to go fish Lake Awoonga in the summer, first thing I wanted to go do is go up the back of some bays, go fish some top water and fish a bit of weedless. So Awoonga's full of this underwater weed. I know in America they call it hydrilla, and I'm not sure what the name of it is here in Australia, but Barra absolutely love it. This is a New Zealand gully bait. It's super famous for good fishing over the years. And you can pull up the back of this bay and there's all up in here, there's just big weed flats. You can get up there, throw top water, fish a bit of weedless. And then pushing right at the back here, around this area, where it's yellow and orange either side of the creek channel, it's pretty much weed from deep water straight all the way up. So because it's such a clear water lake, the grass grows in about 20 foot and shallower because the light penetrates so deep. So all this, where it's not blue, is pretty much weed. And I'll show you a cool little trick on this chart card. If we go into options, layers, into chart, satellite photos, we're going to turn land only off. And we can bump this up to 100% here. And this gives us a satellite image over our chart. So you can see all through here, all these big weed beds. Shows you trees and everything. It's such an epic chart to play around with. This is the old quarry up the back of one of those bays. And a lot up the top of this river, this is, so you can dial this down as well. So you can push this down to 70%, and it just sort of gives you a mix of both chart and satellite. But I don't use that too much. I just like to have a look at the watercolor, what the weeds growing, all that sort of stuff, and then I'll usually turn that off and just look at water depths and stuff. So this is called Flutter Creek, another great spot. You can see it gets real shallow at the top here. There's big weed beds, like this is a big weed bed along here. Just before this bridge is a big weed bed that comes out there. You can fish all these little creeks up in here. Get up there early in the morning, get out of the way of where most people are usually going to run. These sort of bays, up these little creeks, and just find those fish that they tend to not move through there. They're usually the same fish that live there all the time, and you can usually tempt them with a bit of top water, stuff like frogs, walkers, fizzes, all that sort of stuff early. Even, I know this spot here, this is a big grass flat. I know Morgo and his son, Steve Morgan, they were fishing frogs along there one morning. I think it was last January or February, and they were cracking meteries on frogs there. So another good little spot. Big weed flats here. There's so much to look at. Once you get up there, just start fishing it all. And then later on into the day, it's going to get real hard because clear water, it's really hard to catch fish up here that time of the year. During the middle of the day, so usually we go home, chill out, re-rig, and then we'll come back at night and fish some of these main lake points. So this is sort of the main section of the dam. It's probably one of the best places to fish during summer, I find. Depending on what way the wind direction is blowing, so if it's blowing northerlies, this is one of the most famous points here, right here. It's called Gold Mine Point. This is, I think it's Turtle Island. That's Gold Mine Point. And the main reason why this is such a awesome spot is this river channel where these fish are traveling. Again, they're going to be swimming straight past here. On bite time, all they have to do is swim up from that deep water, move up into this point and feed. And you'll go there during the day, you'll scan past it, you won't see a thing. Come back at night, even during bite time, sometimes when you scan past with side scan, you'll only see one or two. But if you pull up on these areas that are going to have a lot of traffic or fish moving through, if you sit there and just fish it, you'll watch your sounder just light up because they're just going to be traveling through and get on the angle of the weed, cast along the point. You can see there's all high rises in this, out here and out here. And right here, like look at this. This is a big channel big creek channel that comes off the main river. Those fish just pull up there, swim up this channel and disperse and feed on these points. So another great spot. New Zealand Gully, you can see another creek coming straight off another main creek coming right off the main river channel. All these points. I think Jeff Newby won the Barra Open there a couple of years ago. Fishing just there, same thing, river channel goes straight past that point. All these points along here are good. And this is called Dingo Island. This is one of my favourite spots, is this little bay down here. So you've got a nice big saddle here between the two islands, a main river channel right here, and it literally just drops straight down. So those fish are swimming through there as well as fish that are swimming through here. So you see the main river channel comes through here, nice big creek, and they can swim up here. You see a few fish on this point, but I think right here you get so much traffic of fish coming down from the north end, fish coming from the south end. If there's any current in that river, it's flowing straight up onto that point there, and just another killer spot. So just looking for those points that are on the main river. Another one there, straight off the main river. All this stuff along here. Here, this point here, it's actually a big weed island. It's like just full of grass, and right there's a little channel where it comes through. Another great little pinch point for fish to swim past. And get on there. Another one here. There's just so much in Awoonga. So this arm to the north here, that's called Flutter Creek. This is the main Boyne River that runs through. And you got a big main river point right in the middle of the two. What more can you ask for? That's just perfect. Bite time, that's going to be another great spot. and another good spot here. Big open sort of rides out in the middle. So me and Josh did a right fishing this bank here overnight once as well. But yeah, just start scanning all these areas. Start scanning all these main points during the day. You'll see fish on some of them, but it's pretty hard to get in a bite. And overnight, on your bite times, you start going through these, trying to fish as many of these points as you can. You'll find one end of the dam is going to fish better. Like you might get on northerly wind, I'd be focusing on this side. If you're getting easterlies or southerlies, going to fish that side. Easterlies, it's going to be pumping straight on this area over here. So just look at your wind direction, try and follow it. All the bait's going to be pushing with the wind, the oxygen, the warmer water pushes with the wind, and there'll just be heaps more stirred up water in this place because it is so clean. Dirty water goes a long way, so if you can find any stirred up banks with dirty water, that's going to be absolutely killer. So I usually try and fish all those main river spots. I have fished these points along here, never done too well. Always for me seems to be these places where the main river pulls up right tight against the creeks. There's all stuff up here as well. It's just endless spots you can fish, but those are probably the best ones for me, I'd say. Gold Mine overnight, that island, the Weed Island at the front of New Zealand Gully just there, that little orange one there. These trees here too can be good, and all these points through here. Dingo Island, and then the big point in between Flutter and the Boyne. They're not secret spots or anything. You probably will see other boats fishing it, but they're fishing it for a reason. Another good spot here. If you can find a spot where there's two main river channels going through, like here, we got a point here. Where are we? Just there. Point there and a point there. You got two different wind directions. You can hit either one. You got the main river there, another side creek. There's just two traffics of fish going through. That's what you're going to be looking for, because a lot of these fish are going to be almost pelagic out here. You'll see them swimming around, chasing bait and just cruising around during the day. And overnight, these spots will just light up and they'll just start fishing really well. So look at your moon phases. There's an app. You can look at your bite times. I think it's just called fishing times. We'll go through that a bit later. And your moon phases. So in this lake, because it is a clear water lake, your moon rise is really good because it's like a big torch all of a sudden hitting the water, the bait goes crazy. And moon set it is when the moon sets, all that light from the moon cuts out, it goes pitch black. All of a sudden you'll hear the bait going absolutely nuts, the fish are blowing up on top, and you'll have like sort of half an hour windows there, as well as your tide changes, just sort of tied in. But the main bite times I usually like there, moon above, moon below, and then moon rise and moon set. They're sort of my favourite things. Tide change in the Boyne River is good, and yes, that's what I'll be doing overnight. Have a bit of a play up on these weed flats and stuff, just to kill the morning time, fishing a bit of topwater, and yeah, we'll go through some different techniques. All right, now we're gonna go through some baits that I'd recommend to use up there. These are some of my favorites. There's a million different lures, but we're gonna start off with a bit of topwater. Say you get up there, you wanna go early morning. Can't go wrong with a walking bait. This is a Rapala X-Walk. They don't make it anymore, but you know, there's heaps on the market. Rapala got new ones. Any walking bait, that sort of size, you know, between sort of 120 to 200 mil long, something big, it's gonna make a heap of noise, that walks really well, triggers heaps of bites. Then you got the old frogs. These are just Kitech frogs, rigged on a weedless, weightless hook, EWG style. Burning them across the top of the weed, you can get some awesome follows on it, and if you get a blow up, it's even better. If you get a bite in those lures, that's going to keep you alive all trip, so it's definitely worth putting a bit of time in the mornings just to have a crack at it. And then later at night, if fish start blowing up, I usually use this more at night, not during the day that much because it's a big, loud, noisy bait. But this is a Jollet lure fizzer. This thing floats really well. It's got double props. You can hang big hooks on it. It doesn't sink or anything, so it's going to sit in the top and it just gets hammered. So great colour there, imitates the garfish up there. Can be really cool hearing this thing get popped off at night when you can't even see it. So they're sort of my favorite top water lures. And in the afternoons and stuff, you can fish once you get to the back of these bays or fishing big grass flats and stuff. There's usually about 3 foot. There's sections in the grass where there's about 3 foot of water above the weed, and you can fish stuff like weedless paddle tails, stuff like your hollow belly, just unrigged plastics. You can fish them on a jig head like this and rip it out of the weed with no stingers. They clear pretty well, but if you're getting hung up too much, switch over to like an owner beast hook. You can go the flashy swimmer if you want, but just in the clear water, you don't really need another flash under there. So just rigging a weedless, jig head, and even a slick rig. I'll usually fish one of these slickies without the stinger on the bottom, and you can rip them out of the weed as well. Make a heap of noise, get those fish to react. And one of my other favorite techniques to do that with is fishing the Reddick SF125. So this is a floating lure. You can hang big hooks on it to make it float even slower. And I usually just sort of slow wind this over the weed. If you get hung up, just give it a rip and it clears it up. Looks exactly like the garfish in there. There's a new model out, a smaller one. I'm not sure exactly what the size is. It's between the 90 and the 125, and we got the color Awoonga in there. Purpose built for this technique, so that'll be awesome. That's the color there. That's Awoonga in the DS80. So if you're going to fish sort of the outside of weed edges, this is the jerkbait to use. It gets down to 15 foot with ease. I fish it on 50-pound fluorocarbon leader. Helps the lure just keep diving and diving. It'll still suspend, but because the leader sinks in front of the lure, every time you twitch it, it's diving half a foot, just getting deeper and deeper. And that's what you need to keep down on these depths because the weed grows so deep to the edge. So good color there, Awoonga. Can't go wrong with white bait, best color on the market, and another color there, toucan. So those are great sort of jerk baits. And if you want to get even deeper again, if you find some fish that are suspended super deep, this is the Reddick DS100. So in whitebait again, killer, gets down super deep, super quick, still suspends, and they're a bit heavier too, which is what I like if you're fishing in a bit of wind. These things will cast a mile, built tough as. So those are sort of my favorite techniques to fish outside of bite times. And during bite times, that's when you can start playing with a bit bigger lures. Molex 140s, nice heavy lure. They're a big paddle tail. You can rig them with, I usually rig them, I don't know why this one hasn't got a stinger on the front, but I usually rig them with just one. If you want to rig two, you can rig two. Good color there, ghost bass. They're good because they sort of track deep along the bottom because they're so heavy. You can also rig the slick rigs with a heavier weight to keep them down, like the 1 ounce. And if you're getting a few fish on that, you want to change it up where you stop getting bites, it's always good just to have a throw of something like this, like a big hard glide bait that's going to make a heap of noise. I've had times during bite times where you're having a killer session, you catch 2 or 3, and all of a sudden you stop getting bites and there's fish everywhere on the sounder. And a few casts with a lure like this can trigger a big bite, and you can get that bite fired back up again. So that's the Molex Glide. That's a Evergreen S-flat, I think it is. I'm not sure if they even make these anymore, but 2 really good little glide baits there. Sort of triggers a bit of a bite again, and also big plastics can be killer on the bite time. This is the Irukandji. Kobe Pasco's put this thing on the market pretty well. But yeah, this is the 9-inch. I think 9 inches is a good size. It's still a big enough bait to stir them up, but it's still small enough that they can eat it. There is an 11-inch you can use if you want, but this will do the job, I reckon. Most of the bait that they eat in there is this size, like the big bonies and all that. So don't be afraid to throw something like that during bite times to trigger those bites as well. And one of the probably the best techniques in that lake at night time is a vibe. There's been a lot of tournaments won there. I know Liam won the Open there 1 year on the vibes, and this is my favourite vibe here, is Samaki Vibelicious. I'm not sure how long this one is. I think it's 70 mil. But this is my favourite colour. This is Phantom Crawl. This one's sort of brand newish. This one's caught so many Barra, and I just keep putting new hooks on it so you can see how they hold up. They don't tear anything. They're sort of that 10x material. Only thing that's happened with this one is the eyes are falling off. Super tough vibe. That colour's epic in that clear water. Just looks so much like a one of those red claws. It's got the blue hues in it, bit of red on it. So yeah, just hop down along the bottoms on the outside of the weed edge, and Barra love those things. So another thing I wanted to talk about is when you're buying thousands of dollars worth of tackle, you want to look after it. So I was going to go through some storage things with you, and one of my favorites is Versus. So if you're looking to store vibes, the perfect way is through a Versus tray. So this is the slit form case, 3020 NS. So that's it there. If you want to look at it up, Barra, Jackson, Kawana, they got heaps of stock of this sort of stuff, and you can hang all your vibes up like that. Keeps them all straight. You don't have to keep them in the packet. Just a really good way to store them. Keeps all the tail straight. And I know as soon as I pick one up out of here, they're not going to be all sticky. They're not going to be deformed. They're going to swim every time. And that can be, I reckon that is the best way to store a vibe. I've lost so many vibes over years trying to keep them together. And that's the best way. Another one is the reversible. For all your swim baits, there's all different sizes in it. And this is the reversible case here. So this is the 165. It's perfect for your slick rigs and your smaller stuff like your hollow bellies. And I usually just put them all nose down, and I'll store it like that, nose down, and the tails all stay straight when I pick them up. And so you got, what is it, 7 lures either side. You can put stingers on them, they fit in there with stingers. And there's no better way to store a paddle tail plastic than that tray. And for the all saltwater guys, this is the slit form 3020 and double DM, so it's a bit thicker. You got a bit more room in here. And this is perfect for your prawns. So I've had these prawns in here for about a year now. All those legs are straight as, tails stay straight. You can sort of see they sort of sit sideways a bit, which is fine, because when you pick them back up, they're all good to go. You can I usually put a few hooks in there, like jig heads and YS81 trebles, just if I want to rig them up with stingers and stuff. And that is 100% the best way to store all your lures. Check out Versus, they got heaps of good stuff like that. Just saves you losing lures for no reason when they're just sitting around, you're not even using them to catch fish. So definitely look after your tackle. If you spend the money, get the right sort of tackle trays, you can keep it for a long time. And yeah, that's all the techniques that I would sort of start off with. There's so much you can look into, but yeah, I hope that sort of helps you. It gives you a little bit where to start. If you have no confidence in some lures, you can try some of this stuff. Check it all out. But yeah, thanks for watching for another video. If you want to go in the draw to enter the next Samaki lure pack, make sure you follow Samaki on Instagram, subscribe to the channel, and comment your biggest Barra below, and we'll send you out a lure pack. So thanks for watching again, and we'll see you on the next one.